I'm Patrick Tsang, global citizen, investor. Join me as I talk with global influencers for their insight, wisdom, and how they overcame their own personal challenges. Sharing positivity, overcoming challenges, creating one world together. I'm Patrick Tsang. Anything is possible. Welcome to another episode of Anything is Possible. I have a special guest, a good friend, Markus Lehner. Markus, welcome.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
We're now in your hometown. Well, I guess this is your residence, not your hometown, Monaco. It's always good to see you. I saw you, I think, during F1 time, and I haven't seen you for almost 2 years because of COVID. So how have you been keeping?
Well, I'm keeping well, actually. I mean, COVID was difficult for some people, but I think it's very important that you learn to adapt, no matter if there's COVID or not. I think it's always important in life to adapt what's going on around you and change to the given circumstances. So I have to say, in my case, since you're asking me personally, pretty well. And I was lucky as well when we speak about the health side, because I got COVID, but I didn't even realize. So somehow my natural DNA or immune system was working very well. So for me, it was a very good time. I had as well a very efficient time. I was traveling much less, obviously, and I found out that there's not so much traveling actually needed. So it was a lot of time for thinking and rethinking things, and I'm lucky that nobody in my family was really hurt because of the disease, but it was a very good time, and we moved on very fast, and it was really good actually.
Actually, want to resonate and appreciate a lot of your comments. I think we talked previously as well over coffee that people started to take care of their health more, spend more time with their families, be more efficient, less traveling, and actually end up you think better, mentally you're better. And I guess the story is you have to evolve and you have to adapt, and that's a good way of being an entrepreneur, being a finance guy. So tell us what you and your company and your organization, what are you doing now, and what's the mission?
What we're doing now is actually not so different what we did the last over 30 years actually. There's only one big difference, is that we have to start there. Maybe we have an asset management company. We have a few hedge funds, and what we changed in the last 3 to 4 years is that we have changed all our asset management is based on artificial intelligence. So we are not having any classical asset managers anymore, human beings who read Financial Times or look at Bloomberg or read like annual reports. It's all based on computers, because we strongly believe that there are certain things that computer can do better than human beings. And our asset management team, we still have humans there, is software people, physicians, mathematicians. So this is something we changed in the last 3 to 4 years. But the underlying instruments, when you have a fund, is still the same as before. So we invest, for example, in European equities or in German equities. So that's the same, but the approach and who is making the investment decisions is completely different.
And how has changing from AI, from humans, how has the performance been?
Well, the performance was actually different. First of all, it was better, of course, especially when markets went down. For example, in the COVID time, when markets went down 30, 40, 50%, depending on which market you look, we didn't lose any money or just a little. So that was really great. And we found out, which was very interesting actually, that because of our AI, the correlation to all other markets, not only stock markets, also commodities and real estate, was very little. So we decreased our correlation, and this was quite amazing and quite interesting as well.
That's interesting. It's very good that you can apply all this talk of the future AI, but you're actually doing it. And I think a lot of people end up being quite scared or a bit concerned about taking the step to change from the traditional model to a very forward-looking.
I agree 100%. I mean, we hear this not often, but quite a bit, that people say, wow, computers taking over the world, it's all the enemies, and let's stay away from that. But when you take the approach that it's not computer taking over the world, it's computer that help you, it's something which computer can do better than human beings. I mean, for example, we have our computers in our home base, in our office, in Frankfurt, they read more than 2 million financial news a day.
Wow.
How can you do this as a human being and evaluate, you know? So how can a human being do that? And we use computers where we think they can really process and do it better than human beings, but still the guidelines, if you want, is given by human beings, of course.
I mean, technology is a tool, and it's about knowing
Absolutely.
how to embrace technology and use
Absolutely.
it for the better.
Yes.
But it's like the mobile phone, the internet, where the smartphone helps us, but now also overuse. Looking at the middle of the night when you're going to the toilet or waking up immediately looking at it is great because everyone can connect to you. But in fact, you know, nowadays less is more. So we have to try to take care of ourselves. And you know, during this COVID time, I've been a big believer of self-care. Before I was a workaholic where I was working like, I don't know, 12, 16 hours a day, and I was sleeping 3-4 hours, and I've changed that because I think in the long run I'm not doing myself any good, and I think you've done the same.
I agree 100%. So I think in the time when you develop something, when you build something, you have to dedicate 8 days a week to that. But the goal should always be that at a certain moment it runs by itself and you're just on the steering and giving a little correction, like you mentioned racing, you know, like the car goes straight by itself, you just correct when you want to go a bit more left or more right. So I agree 100%, and I think it's something very important that you look about yourself, the health. You know, you have only one life, you have only one hardware, if I may say like this, and this is very important. I mean, I don't smoke and I don't drink any alcohol. I never did any drugs, obviously, but for me, it's not sacrificing. It's not that I would love to do drugs or alcohol or cigarettes. It's just I feel better that way. You know, I had once not too long ago a birthday event here in Monaco. And everybody was looking at me a bit strangely because south of France, people are all drinking wine and champagne. And I was somehow weak, which is very rare. And somebody said, have a sip of this champagne. So I had really a sip of the champagne. And immediately I felt my body was, you know, the elbows heavy, and next day I had a headache. So it doesn't make me feel good. So why doing it?
Of course. Excellent. It's all about yourself and not living because of what others want or the society is telling us.
Correct.
Right?
Which is right what you said, but very difficult to do. You know, the
Absolutely.
pressure from society, from the environment, sometimes is very big. And sometimes, as I said, on this birthday party was a good example. It's very difficult to say, no, you're all drinking champagne, you're all having fun. You might think I'm boring, but I shouldn't have had it. Even this one sip made me feel not good, and I don't want to feel good. I like to feel good.
Sure. Talk is cheap.
Exactly.
You know, so success. You know, you've been doing well in your career. Share with the audience what is success in your definition, and how do you go about achieving this?
2 questions.
Of course.
Success for me is when you can do what you like to do, no matter what it is. Some people like to sleep all the day. Some other people like to work 8 hours a week. Sometimes it changes, as we just said before. So success is really if you can master your time and your life, then you're successful. It doesn't always mean to make a lot of money. It doesn't always mean to have a lot of free time. It's what makes you happy. When you wake up in the morning and you say, great day, I'm seeing him, I'm seeing her, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and you're happy about it. That's what I consider success. And how do you achieve it? Well, it's hard work, because we're all not born like this. We all have to increase our discipline, our thinking, rethinking. And I've learned as well one thing which is very important. When you have a goal, you should always follow your goal unless you found out that your goals have changed.
Sure.
That's very important. There's no point of following something when you come closer and you see it's not what I thought it is, you know, then you have to change.
2 really great pieces of advice, Markus. So the takeaway is, one is do what makes you happy. And
Yes.
when you find something that you do happy, and you know, from my perspective, my own philosophy is that you can't compare to someone else. What makes Markus happy doesn't make Patrick happy, right?
Correct.
Follow your own thing. You could take reference of what Markus is doing, or Mr. A, Mr. B, or whoever. It's more about following your own path and going for it. But also
Absolutely.
agree with what you're saying about direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to go to Munich.
Mm-hmm.
By halfway you want, oh, I suddenly don't want to go to Munich, I want to go to Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
Then of course you have to change direction. But there's a lot of people in life where they get misguided or they lose touch, and then they still continue on the path.
Correct.
And by that time they're 65 and they're a partner in a law firm.
Yeah.
That all their life they didn't want to become a lawyer.
Exactly. You're right. Absolutely.
Any examples you can give to the audience where you wanted to give up, you were very close, you didn't, and you persevered?
Well, actually, no, I can't give an example, because I always try to apply the saying, in life, you have either success or an excuse. There's nothing in between. Either you achieve your goal or you have an excuse because the weather was bad, because my partner was an idiot, because the dollar went down. There's nothing between success and excuses. I learned it very early, so I don't have an example where I said I wanted to go there, and still today I wanted it, but I didn't do. It happened many times to me in my life that I had a goal, I went to follow the goal, but as I said before, when I realized it might not be as I imagined it would be there, then I changed. But unfortunately, I have no example where I said shortly before I stopped.
No problem. So, Markus, what is your life ethos?
Well, the most important thing in life for me is for sure my family, my children. I'm born, as you know, in Vienna, very old-fashioned environment, and my family is the most important thing for me, and the support they give, and to be, and I think you said it very nicely in different words, to be the master of your own life, because at the end of the day, there's only one person which can make you happy, and that's yourself.
And that's the spirit of anything is possible.
Correct.
Which is, you're the master of your own destiny. No matter if you're tall, short, rich, fat, thin, whatever color, country, culture you come from.
Absolutely.
Only you yourself can make a difference.
Absolutely.
To your own life.
Absolutely.
Right? And anything is possible. We want to promote, positivity, share positive vibes to young people. Mm-hmm. What's your number one advice you would share with the younger audience, especially young entrepreneurs and business leaders?
My strongest advice is to young or not so young people, go with your heart. Go with your heart. Don't do something because you're forced or because you think you make more money or you think you have more free time. If there's a very good saying I like a lot. If somebody, let's call him God, would promise you would be successful, what would you do? And do that, and do that. If you know that you will be successful, go with your heart. Look at the most successful people in life. No matter if we speak about sports, like Michael Schumacher, for example. Do you think anybody told Michael Schumacher, you make so much money when you race? Michael Schumacher was a racer. He was the first on the track and the last to leave because he loved racing. Look at singers, look at Elton John. He went on stage without thinking about, I make $100 or $1,000. He loved singing. Yeah? And I think my strongest advice is go with your heart and your mind will follow.
Excellent advice. Markus, it's good to talk to you. Thank you for your advice, and we're going to talk soon.
Thank you very much, Patrick. It was my pleasure.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.